Hey everybody, I'm Peter Teloniatis, a registered physiotherapist, and today we're going to be learning about an exercise to strengthen our neck musculature. It's called the chin tuck, and the chin tuck is important for strengthening our intrinsic neck muscles. We call them our deep neck flexors. They're at the front of our neck, and this is oftentimes necessary in the beginning stages of a physiotherapy or rehab program, when somebody's had some form of whiplash disorder or neck trauma, but also when we're oftentimes compensating from with our neck more than what we should. There are these neck muscles called the global muscles. They're called the sternocleidomastoid and the anterior middle scalenes that we've talked about in previous videos. And these are typically overworking, where they are typically compensating for the tinier, more subtle intrinsic stabilizers that we talked about, the deep neck flexors. These global muscles, they attach from larger areas of the skull and to the collarbone and chest bone, but they don't necessarily have attachments to the vertebrae. Whereas these intrinsic stabilizers, these little tiny neck muscles, do have attachments to the vertebrae, and they provide us with a little more stability forward and back and side to side. And they're more important for stamina and endurance and posture. So oftentimes when we're in a car accident or head whiplash or head trauma, these tiny neck muscles, these intrinsic stabilizers, become inhibited and they stop working. And the larger compensatory muscles, these primary movers, these global muscles, they take over. And oftentimes they create a lot of muscle tension at the front of the neck, causing dizziness and headaches. So oftentimes they're the source of our cervicogenic headaches and cervicogenic dizziness. So I typically see this a lot in my practice, where I see a lot of patients who have developed certain strategies, whether it's postures that are with a forward head postures, or looking down a lot with their computer or their cell phones, or just daily activities. So here we are, we're going to be learning the chin tuck. So the chin tuck is an important exercise to be done in a sequence of exercises, and it's important to appropriately demonstrate it and to introduce it in a program at the right time, so that people are not suffering from any kind of residual headaches or dizziness as a result of doing it. So again, the deep neck flexors, they're these group of muscles that start and end, and they attach to the vertebrae of the spine, and they provide segment to segment stability. And some of these are the rectus capitis anterior, the longus colli, the longus capitis. These are just a few of the neck muscles that provide us with stability of the neck. So here we're going to be lying down for this exercise for the chin tuck. You want to introduce it in a lying position because you want to try to limit how many muscles are actually engaged at the same time. And in lying position, you're able to focus on isolating the deep neck flexors in this position. So what you want to have is a relatively flat pillow, and you want to be keeping your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And essentially what you're visualizing is that the tilt should be coming from here. There's this point here called the external auditory meatus, just in front of your jawbone and your TMJ, and you're trying to create a rotation from this point. This is your axis of rotation, and you're trying to visualize you're bringing your chin to your throat. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to imagine that rotation, and I'm going to bring my chin to my throat. Now, most people who do this initially, they typically overactivate muscles. You want to imagine that you're only engaging 8% of the muscles in your neck. If you have a hard time feeling that, you can actually lift your head up and you can kind of feel those large neck muscles engaging. Again, the sternocleidomastoid and the scalenes muscles. But we do not want to engage those muscles in this circumstance. We want to try to keep those relaxed, and we want to try to focus on just the more subtle neck muscles. The deep neck flexors are very subtle, so that's why we only want to apply 8% activity. And when we're doing this, we want to just lightly feel. Now, what we're feeling for is the lack of global muscle activation. So I'm going to go into my chin tuck, and as soon as I feel my large neck muscles engaging, that's where I stop. I stop right before that. So at first, when you're doing this, you may want to kind of just become familiar with the motion. And then once you're able to kind of do it, you're able to do a very subtle chin tuck. And once you feel that you're not engaging the larger neck muscles, but only isolating it from the small deep neck flexors, you can hold that position for 10 seconds. You can start off by repeating that 10 times, and you can build up to 2 to 3 sets of that 1 to 3 times a day. So it looks like this. So I just demonstrated 3 simple repetitions. However, you would want to be doing 10. And this develops into something that you can create endurance and you can kind of build on. Essentially, you can progress this 2 to 3 weeks later when it becomes very easy to sitting. But you can also do it in a lying position, engaging more of the longest core line muscles, and by creating a chin tuck and then a head lift. So when you're doing the chin tuck and the head lift, you want to progress very carefully, not to generate any headaches. So the goal here is to maintain the chin tuck at all times while you lift your head up, and then to lift and to maintain the chin tuck as you lower your head down. So chin tuck, head raise, lower down, and then relax. You'll notice that I didn't really raise my head too high up. It was literally just feeling it lift off the pillow and maintain the chin tuck as I lowered it down. You could hold that for 2 to 5 seconds, but I find that 10 seconds is a little excessive at first, so I may want to go into it slowly. So the first one though is establishing the chin tuck and building some confidence with that, and then eventually kind of progressing it to either sitting or with the chin tuck with the head raise. Anything further, if you do develop any headaches afterwards, obviously you want to make sure that you're being mindful of how your technique is, and it may just be something that you need to kind of focus on some stretching or relaxing some of the muscle tone of the other global muscles that we talked about, the sternocleidomastoid and scalenes, before initiating this exercise. Otherwise, there's just too much activity already, and it's just difficult to isolate the deep neck flexors. So once again, I'm Peter Teloniatis, and if you liked our video, you can subscribe to our channel, and if you like this specific video, you can like it and leave a comment below if you're looking for any further details or specific questions about this exercise. Thank you.